This YouTube is for the 2004 Cadillac Deville. The tank also fits many other GM vehicle. Look in the comment section for the application of models. The customer has a evap leak. Check engine light keeps coming on. We've traced it down to a small leak under the gasket and sending unit area. Once these embedded rings start to rust, there's really no way to stop that. One of these fingers is getting thin enough, it's letting that seal break. We've cleaned the tank, ready to knock this out. We've got it started already, so I can remove it for video purposes only with my hands. This is the gasket coming up out. On a lot of these GMs, this particular tank is not too bad yet, but a lot of these GM tanks, you'll see this area that starts to warp a little bit or distort, and that is where the seal is at, obviously. We'll go ahead and remove, for the Kelly's repair kit, we'll remove these 5 lockdown fingers. We'll clean up the fumes and fuel from the tank prior to, and proceed with the video. We're going to go ahead with a pair of vice grips. We're going to remove these tabs. Some of them are probably going to be a little more stubborn than others, but they should crack off right down at that embedded ring area. Working back and forth a little bit, it will start to fatigue and break off of there. It's coming loose. Nice. We'll go around these after we get the 5 tabs off, finish this surface down a little bit. Our gasket, however, seals in the outside area where the tank is in very good condition. The nature of the original design for the GM sending units, they're spring-loaded, holds the pump down to the bottom of the tank. However, once we start to have any failure on the locking mechanism, it is actually pushing that seal away, causing the leak to happen for you. This finger over here is a lot thinner than the one over here is, so it's just a matter of time once this rust starts to take place. We're going to go ahead and prep the area for the assembly part of this YouTube. We've removed the 5 hold down fingers. The others came off real easy. This might have been about the best one here. It left a little more metal up here. What we do is we go in with some channel locks. It'll grab onto the bottom surface and this top surface, and we will work that down. The ring itself is pretty good. And what our gasket will do is it'll set down over top of that area and compress into the gasket, and the surface we're going after for our seal is out in this area here where the tank is in very good condition. The 1/4 inch thick gasket will press down over top of this area, and our second seal that's on top of the stainless ring will seal obviously between the sending unit and our stainless ring. So now you've got a very good seal. The original positioner for the fuel tank notch and sending unit notch for alignment purposes, we will remove this tab on the inside area. Very easy to with a sharper knife to remove that. Our gasket sets all the way to the inside surface, so we get an inside seal and top and bottom seal. We have set the sending unit down into the fuel tank. We have positioned the 2 assembly screws for our repair kit so we can access them at the fittings over for the fuel lines. We will now go around with an awl and mark the 16 drill points. We have our 16 drill points pre-marked off of the gasket. With a brushless drill, we're ready to pre-drill the 16 pull-down points. Drill all the way through the surface of the tank. The screws we supply with this kit are designed to go all the way down through. They'll grab onto that plastic very well. And assembly with the slightly longer screws is easier. Our repair kit includes the large gasket that is between the fuel tank, the new stainless steel ring, the gasket that goes onto the sending unit, and onto the new surface. So now we have all surfaces prepared for reassembly. It includes the 16 screws plus 8 of the hold down fingers, and these hold down fingers will set onto this surface and onto the flange of the sending unit. We're going to put our first 8 hold down screws in using every other hole. The remaining 8 will be for the hold down fingers after we have the sending unit in place. We're using a 5/16 nut driver. It helps us a lot, makes it a lot easier to get a good feel for what we're doing with the screws. We can line up the screws with the pre-drilled holes a lot easier. We're not after speed. We want them to go down in without any excess force like you might have with a cordless drill or something like that. We have put the new gasket that we supply onto the fuel pump sending unit. Now it's ready for that to go down into the tank and align with the bottom of the fuel tank. There's usually a locator on the bottom that positions it. Everything is looking real good so far. We will put the 8 hold down fingers in next, just to get them started and into position prior to the final snugging. We did not snug any of these down as we're starting the finger hold down screws. The most difficult one will be the one that's underneath of these fittings. They are so close over there. So we have it started, and then we will be able to, with the final snugging, we will be able to move the sending unit around as I am doing right here. Getting to this part of the final install, one of the hold down screws, I have had to use a small 5/16 box wrench. We will snug that one down. The rest we're able to access very easily with a nut driver. We'll go around several times. We'll just bring each one down a little bit. I'm only going maybe a half turn with each one. As we get to the final snug down, we will watch the gasket between the fuel tank and our new gasket surface. You can see that gasket start to move a little bit. That's what we want to see. And we know we're getting close with the amount of tension we're putting onto the assembly. We are getting real close to the final part of this repair kit install. We're going around several times, as I mentioned before. We do not want to strip them out at this point. You don't need an excessive amount of pressure. We are real close with this. We're going to, now that we have the amount of pressure on the screws where we want it at, we're going to allow the gasket to seat down onto the surface for 15 minutes, allowing that generous gasket to do its final seating on the surfaces. If you do not have access to a smoke test this time, you can use a little soapy water around the sending unit fuel tank area. Go ahead and plug that. We've added a little air pressure to the fuel tank. We're seeing just a few bubbles in a couple of areas. So we will snug those points down just a little bit until we see those disappear. And then we know we have a good seat on the gaskets to the surfaces. That is looking good. Very confident in the install. Yeah. This customer, we reinstalled their original sending unit. That was not the problem. That's not why the evap system was throwing that code. It was the gasket under it to the fuel tank. Should this customer or your customer need to replace that sending unit, they remove the 8 hold-down fingers. Fuel tank or fuel pump comes out, and set your new fuel pump down and put your 8 hold-down fingers back in. Very simple, very clean. Stainless steel parts, zinc coated. Gaskets are fuel grade.